Hey, everybody. Let me get set up here a little bit. We're going to do the news. I wanted to explain a little bit of this chair squeaks here. Can you hear this? I got the gate set, so maybe I'll cut a lot of it out. No, hear it. Drives me nuts. I get a lot of people send me suggestions, and I appreciate every one of them. And I do read them. I don't take offense by it whatsoever. As long as you follow my guidelines that I put on my YouTube channel, it tells you what the guidelines are. They're very simple. Be respectful and stay away from political stuff as much as you can. But if you do political stuff, try to keep it where you're not insulting. I'm not going to get into that. But somebody says, you could use a green screen. Well, if you've watched my WNL shows especially long enough, you'll see where I have actually used green screens once in a while for the WNL show. I just decided I didn't like the look. It looks okay. I made up my own green screens. I didn't go download something from the web. But it's just not the feeling that I'm trying to get. The feeling that I'm trying to get is that I want you to feel like you're sitting in here and we're talking like across the table over a cup of coffee. See how that focused? That's new for me. Anyway, I'm rambling, ain't I? I want you to feel like you're sitting in this room with me. And that's why I leave the background just kind of natural. I just think it's better for the feel. That's it. That's all I'm going after. I want you, my friends, to feel like you're sitting in here in my house and we're just having a conversation about stuff, and I might be telling you something about stuff. That's it. That's all. So I do want to thank, I haven't got them all written down, but I did get notified. I do have some new Patreon members. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't thank you enough because that's really what keeps this thing going is the Patreon members and the YouTube members. It does. So let's get on with the news. A judge has dealt a blow to a couple fighting to keep the little white cross on display at their home in the Villages. Judge Michael Morley has ruled in favor of the Community Development District 8. I'm shocked. In its projected legal battle with Wayne and Bonnie Anderson of the Village of Tamarind Grove, she dismissed their most recent counter complaint. The Andersons has claimed that their display of the little white cross should be protected under the Florida Religious Freedom Restoration Act. However, CDD 8 has long held that the cross is considered a lawn ornament and therefore forbidden under deed compliance rules. The case is not over. The Andersons have been granted 30 days to come back with a counter argument to the judge's ruling. I personally think everybody's got the right to go to court and argue about stuff. I mean, that's what our system is. We're a country of laws. Well, unless you come here illegally over the southern border, then I guess we don't have any. But yeah, but once you lose, you lose. Just take it on the chin. Take it on the chin. The outcome of the Andersons case could have ramifications for the thousands of homeowners in the villages with little white crosses on display. Those crosses remain in place because there has been no complaints. We're a complaint-based community. We're all a complaint-based community. If no one complains, nothing gets done. That's how it works. So if you have somebody come knocking on your door saying you got to remove this or that because there's been a complaint, you look across the street and you see, well, that guy over there's got one. How's come he's got it? That's because nobody's complained about that guy across the street. By the way, let me just say right now, because apparently I've got at least one politician here since my last news channel. He's got his panties in a wad. He's upset with what I said. And he sent me a really nasty email, which I saved. I still got it, and I'm going to hang on to it. And this is one of our local commissioners. He doesn't like the way I do the news or whatever, and he threw all kind of insults at me. And so I just want to say, just for clarification, he made it sound like with this email like I'm hiding something, and apparently he doesn't watch my channel because I'm not hiding anything, never have. I get most of my news from thevillagesnews.com. I've mentioned that before. Anybody can go get it. You can look at it on your phone. You can read it daily. I pay the subscription to have stuff sent to me early so that when I do this news here, it's not, some of this news could be, by the time you get it, it could be a couple days old, 3 days old. But some of it is like really relevant when you get it. And so I pay the subscription to get it mailed to me early. I don't know what that was called. I can't remember it. I found it in his stuff there somewhere. Said, pay this and get your news like 24 hours early or something. I forget what it was, which I do on my Patreon members. It's a fair deal to make a little extra money. So I pay that to help get you this news earlier. He made it sound like I'm copying somebody. I'm not copying anybody. I'm just reading the news. I'm not liable for anything in this news. All I'm doing is sitting down here with my friends and I'm reading the newspaper to you. So, I don't go out in my car. I don't go looking for news. I don't go knocking on doors like I've always said. I don't go knocking on doors, and I don't interview people unless I've been invited, such as the very sweet guest we got that had that house they rented over there at Pine Hills. I think it was Pine Hills. And I did ask them if they would sit down with me, and they said, sure. I got a lot of good responses on it. A lot of people liked it. They were sweet people. And let me just say this also. I know that sometimes New Yorkers here get a bad rep. They just do. I don't know why, but they do. Just like any other part of the country, there's good and there's bad. But I can only tell you my experience, other than one. Most of the people that I have met from New York, matter of fact, I'll say all the people that I have met from New York area, it could be the city, it could be Long Island, could be Buffalo, could be Syracuse, all over New York, have been nothing but super kind to me and Sue. So I don't know why New Yorkers seem to get the bad rap down here, but they do. And for that, I'm just going to say that you're not getting the bad rap from me. And when I read these stories and this guy happens to be from New York and that guy happens to be from New York, listen, that's just in the news. I'm just reading it. That's all I'm doing is reading it. If it's pertinent to the villages and what happens around here, that's generally what I read. And as the expansion goes on, I'm reading other things that I know over the years could be a problem for the residents in that area. I know that because I've seen it too many times. I've been coming down here for 25 years. I've been coming down here when some of these people weren't even around. So anyway, to the commissioners, don't get your panties in a wad. The outcome of the Andersons case could have ramifications for the thousands of homeowners in the villages with little white crosses on display. Those crosses remain in place because no one has made a complaint. A driver who was suspected of operating a vehicle while impaired was arrested at Barnes & Noble in the villages. Michael Allen Sensabaugh, 30, of Eustis, was pulled over in a gray Hyundai SUV at the bookstore parking lot at about 7 p.m. Monday when Sumter County Sheriff's deputies were investigating a complaint of a reckless driver. The Columbus, Ohio native had very constricted pupils and was having involuntary body tremors in his legs, according to the arrest report. He claimed he had taken hydrocodone, I don't know what that word is, antiseptic, or toothache. A check revealed Sensabaugh's license had been suspended in connection with a 2021 drunk driving arrest. He struggled through field sobriety exercises. He provided breath samples that registered .000. He also provided urine samples. A plastic straw containing a white powder substance was found in Sensabaugh's vehicle. The substance field tested as fentanyl. Sensabaugh was arrested on charge of driving under the influence, driving while license suspended, and possession of drug paraphernalia. He was booked at Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $12,000 bond. New Star Exchange has announced its acquisition of the residence at Village Park Center, a built-to-rent single-family residential community located within the villages. The residence at Village Park Center is located between the Hampton Inn and County Road 466 and the Saddlebrook Softball Complex. Under construction next door is the huge new Pebble Springs retirement community. The property had been listed by Character Oaks Real Estate and CORE. We are excited to announce the closing of our second investment for New Star Exchange, said Joe Gibson, Chief Investment Officer for New Star. Located in the center of the villages, the residence at Village Park Center is a rare, non-age restricted built-to-rent community that caters to the broader local population, including the employees of the villages community and their families. Given an ongoing growth of the villages, a limited non-age restricted family housing, we believe the property will continue to experience significant demand. Just so you know, this is not new. The villages themselves has like 4 different multi-family parks within the villages. And I believe all of them have golf cart access, but they pay a fee like the rest of us do for that privilege. A man who was arrested last year after a fight at Lake Sumter Landing has landed back behind bars. Colby Smith, 22, of Gainesville, was booked Tuesday at the Sumter County Detention Center on a probation violation. He was being held without bond. Smith pleaded no contest February 24th in Sumter County Court to a charge of driving under the influence. He lost his driver's license for 6 months and was placed on probation for 1 year. He was also ordered to perform 50 hours of community service. Smith was arrested December 1st after a brawl with this friend, 22-year-old Caleb Taylor Leibold of Bellevue. Both men were arrested on charges of disorderly contact. Law enforcement officers had also ordered Smith not to drive, but he did not heed their advice and climbed back behind the wheel, leading to his arrest. A villager was arrested in a golf cart on U.S. Highway 301 after leaving Lake Sumter Landing. Good Lord. 301 is like 55 miles an hour in a lot of it, 45 generally, at 30, I think, in Wildwood, but still, it's a dual-lane road. I mean, what are you doing out there? James Solera, 57, who lives at 1223 Addison Avenue in the village of Glenbrook, was at the wheel of the golf cart at about 1 a.m. Tuesday northbound on U.S. 301, according to the arrest report. The native of New York... I'm sorry. That's why I just read it. Sorry, New York. The native New Yorker told deputies he had 1 to 2 drinks with dinner at Lake Sumter Landing. His eyes were glossy and bloodshot. He was asked to participate in field sobriety exercises, but he claimed he had been hit by a car and had several surgeries as a result. He repeatedly asked to go home. He explained his father had died and he has to deal with his mother. He struggled through the exercises and refused to provide breath samples. A criminal history check revealed that he has 3 previous convictions for driving under the influence. Solera was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence and booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. His bond was set at $5,000. Third time. Where I was from, there used to be a thing called 3 strikes and out. A Village of Fernandina resident celebrated after getting his 4th hole-in-one. Dennis Morey scored his 4th lucky ace on June 11th at the Tarpon Boyle Executive Golf Course. He got the hole-in-one on hole number 5 at 150 yards using a 7 hybrid. Congratulations, Dennis. Letter to the editor. For the last 2 or 3 days, a street light had been down at the corner of Rio Grande and Lisbon Drive. I was wondering, when is this problem going to get fixed? And that was sent him by Brian Graham, Village of Rio Grande. Well, Brian, I think I would call the village's maintenance department. A woman was injured Thursday morning in a crash at the roundabout at Morris Boulevard and Lake Sumter Landing. The woman had been southbound on Morris Boulevard at 10:30 a.m. when she entered the roundabout and her tire struck the curb, according to the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. Her vehicle hit a tree and would wind up facing northbound on Morris Boulevard. She was transported by ambulance to UF Health Leesburg Hospital. Be careful in them roundabouts. It's amazing to me as how they're so difficult. U.S. Attorney Roger B. Handberg has announced that a grand jury has returned an indictment charging 37-year-old Romeo Lopez Hernandez with the first-degree premeditated murder of his cellmate while in Coleman Federal Correctional Institute. If convicted, Lopez Hernandez faced a mandatory term of life imprisonment. According to court records, Lopez Hernandez was housed in a special housing unit of Coleman FCI in Sumter County when authorities found his cellmate strangled to death. The victim was lying face down and unconscious on his bed with a bed sheet wrapped around his neck and tied to the bedpost. Dark ligature marks were apparent around the victim's neck, and the medical examiner confirmed that he had died of strangulation. I only read that because villages are invading that whole area around there, and I think the new family park that they're going to build, what they call, for workers, that's workers today. 10 years from now, those will be sold they'll be sold to anybody. That's the way it was up here in the northern area. They have these family parks up there. Buffalo Ridge is one of them. But they had them for workers. What about today? Here you are 25 years later. What's up there now? Check all that out when you come down here. Don't take my word for it. Call your commissioner. Maybe he can enlighten you. A Village of Collier man recently got his 6th hole-in-one. That just don't seem fair. Fred Conger scored the lucky ace on hole number 5 at Sarasota Executive Golf Course at 108 yards using a sand wedge. Congratulations, Fred. To the editor, if little white crosses are lawn ornaments, then go through all the villages and remove all the statues. In the village of Silver Lake, there is a big horse on an avenue and several other religious statues. How about concentrating on these yards that are eyesores to the whole town? When I first visited the villages 10 years ago, all the yards were nicely groomed. Seems that has gone down the tube. What about all the broken down cars and trailers that are in the driveways? Seems to me that you can find much more important issues to spend money and then the little white cross. What a waste of money and time. That's sent in by Mary Lou Morrissey. Well, Mary, I can only tell you, first of all, it's a complaint-based community. You've heard me mention that many times. It's nothing new. It's in your deed restrictions. Get it out and read it. I don't know where these horses are and things you're talking about, but you're in the historical area, and I can tell you that in the historical area up there, the deed restrictions up there are tremendously different than they are, say, down here, because that's where they first started, and some things that they started having problems with were introduced to our deed restrictions down here. Now, you may get hold of your district supervisor and see about updating your deed restrictions, because having that horse in that district may not be against the rules at all. I don't know what it is. I don't know it ain't. I'm just telling you where you need to start. Check your district rules out for that area, if you're in the same district, and see what they are. If they're violating that rule, then all you have to do is make a phone call and report that horse to the village's district rule enforcement. I got the phone number here, but I can't think of it. The villages has a district office you can call about district rules, and you can report violations, and they will take care of it. A handyman who was jailed without bond is claiming his financial hardships has prevented him from repaying $21,797 to a villager he ripped off years, with an S, years ago. Put him in jail. You ain't paying your bill? Go to jail. You get out of jail when the bill's paid. If it takes 50 years to pay that bill off, then you're in jail for 50 years. That's the way I feel about it. I am so tired of all these whiners and thieves and crooks and all these people that make up all these problems for everybody else. Mark Dwayne Gwemble, 52 of Lady Lake, continues to be held without bond at Sumter County Detention Center following his arrest on multiple probation violations. Gwemble had been ordered in 2017 to make restitution in the amount of $23,040 to a villager after helping himself to the Navy Veterans Checkbook, which Gwemble Dwayne down to $4.33. We reported this last week, yeah. When taken into custody, Gwemble admitted having fraudulently cashed the victim's checks that he stole because he was experiencing financial difficulty. He was convicted of multiple charges and placed on probation. He was also ordered to make restitution. Gwemble complained that he was having financial hardships and did not have the ability to pay. It was the same argument he made at the time of the arrest years ago in 2020. During a random urine screen, Gwemble tested positive for THC in his system. It was his second such probation violation, according to the letter from his probation officer. Gwemble was also convicted of ripping off the villager in Lake County section of Florida's friendliest hometown. A couple with a little white cross on display in their home in the villages has vowed to fight on and has added a new law firm to the lineup. While a judge early this month delivered a potential fatal final blow to the legal case of Wayne and Bonnie Anderson of the village of Tamarind Grove, she also gave them 30 days to come back with a fresh argument, and they plan to do so. During the Revolutionary War, American naval captain John Paul Jones was locked in a fierce battle with the British ship. When the captain demanded that Jones surrender, Jones famously replied, "I have not yet begun to fight," said Wayne Anderson. Just like Jones, Bonnie and I are determined to battle the village's unethical, illegal, and unconstitutional efforts to prevent us from displaying a little white cross in our front yard. We are firmly convinced that we will prevail. Well, the big argument, with me anyway, is it's stupid. I'll tell you, it's stupid. What an argument. You pick your battles and this is it? They can put it in a planter up by your front door. It's still displayed, but it's under your awning, and they won't say anything. I don't think they can, because I patched the gutter line, so I don't think they can say anything. Second is, it's the rule when you bought the house here. You signed the paper. You knew what the rules was. And if you open the door to the little white cross, which personally, let me just say right off the front, I have no problem with it at all. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. It's just a little bitty nothing thing, stuck it in the yard. Where will the next guy stick it? Out by the end of a driveway, by the road? And what about the size of this thing? If they say it's okay to have it, where does that stop? What if a guy wants to put a 6-foot cross? There's always these people that want to embellish everything. What if he wants to go in his backyard and put a cross back there that's 14 feet tall? Is that okay? And you got to draw the line here somewhere. I don't think you guys are using your head, your negotiating head. Call your commissioner. He might be able to take care of this for you. The village's district office is aware of emails being sent out, inclusive of official district logos, or posing as staff members requesting financial contributions or attempting to sell information. I've mentioned this. As a government entity, there is a significant amount of information that is available to the public, and it is unfortunate that individuals leverage that and in an effort to gain access to your personal information. Is people still that stupid? I'm sorry. Are you still that stupid that people can knock on a door and have a fake ID and say, hey, I need your access to your bank account because the government's got a warrant out for your arrest, and if you pay me now, then we can make that warrant go away. Do you actually fall for that? Maybe you need to be ripped off. Oh, God, I'm going to get comments about that. Two people were arrested after a golf cart illegally crossed U.S. Highway 441. First of all, I don't know where he's coming from. So the golf cart was pulled over at Bailey Plaza in Summerfield at 3 a.m. Thursday after illegally crossing U.S. Highway 441, according to the arrest report of Marion County Sheriff's. The driver was identified as 39-year-old Patrick Ewell White of Okahumpka. I'm sorry, I giggled. I've been to Okahumpka. I don't really have a whole lot good to say about it. And his passenger was identified as 40-year-old Kathleen Helen Van Sant of Summerfield. There was a zippered bag containing syringes in the golf cart. There was also a substance determined as fentanyl. You know, it's a good thing that most of these crooks and things are stupid. They easily get themselves caught. It makes the cop's job much easier. Hey, what's in that bag right there? I see some. What's that for? Oh, God! Van Sant, who has a history of arrests at the Walmart Buffalo Ridge Plaza in the Villages, was also found in possession of methamphetamine. Both were taken into custody on drug charges and booked at the Marion County Jail. To the editor, the cross should stay. The original document that disallowed a long list of items has served this purpose. With the builder, it was to make everything as uniform as possible to sell homes. The builder no longer is involved in the process, and either by vote of the people or the various groups that run districts, the regulation should be removed and revised to allow for personal ornaments in good taste. That was sent in by Sandra Fuller, Village of Glenbrook. Well, Sandra, who determines the definition of good taste? I'm telling you, this is the problem. You have to draw the line somewhere, because what you think is good taste, the next person is going to complain. You cannot satisfy everybody all the time. You just can't. There's always going to be those people that push that line. Just saying. But I thank you for your comment. That's great. I love it. A villager has been sentenced in connection with an incident involving a juvenile girl in a golf cart near a children's park at Lake Sumter Landing. I think this happened a while back. Joseph Sal Peretti, 62, of the village of Osceola Hills, was placed on probation for 1 year after pleading no contest to a charge of battery last week in Sumter County Court. He was arrested April 23rd by Sumter County Sheriff's deputies after an incident which occurred in the area of Canal Street and Stillwater Trail near Wilkerson Park. The girl had been driving the golf cart when the Manhattan... I'm sorry, New York. I'm just reading it. The girl had been driving the golf cart when the Manhattan native began to tailgate. She and her juvenile female companion, according to the arrest report, he pulled in front of them and blocked them in. He reached into the golf cart in an attempt to seize the key from the ignition. He grabbed the driver's arm, removed the golf cart key, and threw it into the grass. The second girl used her cell phone to record the altercation. Good for you, girls. There's no sense in that. Patetti got into his silver Kia and then went home. He was picked up there by the deputies because the girls got his license plate number. Patetti was taken back to Lake Sumter Landing for a show-up where he was positively identified by the girls. Vic Sepke scored a hole-in-one. Good Lord, everybody's getting a hole-in-one. Vic Sepke scored a hole-in-one on June 20th at hole number 7 at the Hilltop Executive Golf Course in the Villages. Sepke is a retired firefighter from Detroit. Thank you for your service, who now enjoys playing with the OF Club here in the Villages. A villager charged with stealing his girlfriend's jewelry and medication landed back behind bars after apparently leaving the scene of an accident. John R. Cooney, 73, of the village of Lake Deaton, was booked Wednesday at the Sumter County Detention Center. The arrest follows an incident earlier in the week in which he was ticketed on a charge of leaving the scene of an accident. Details of that incident were not available. Cooney had been free on bond in connection with a 2021 incident in which he allegedly stole jewelry and medication from the home of his estranged girlfriend. She had arrived home from the dog park to find him in her house without her permission, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. How'd he get in your house? Cooney had been free on bond in connection with the 2021 incident in which he was allegedly stole jewelry and medication from the home of his estranged girlfriend. She had arrived home from the dog park to find him in her house without her permission, according to the arrest report. After he was removed from her village of Osceola Hills home by law enforcement, she discovered that jewelry and medication were missing. The California native is facing charges of theft and burglary in that incident. As a result of this most recent arrest, Cooney has been freed on a $30,000 bond. He had previously been free on a $17,000 bond. Oh, I don't want to say anything, but it seems like the village of Osceola Hills is popping up quite frequently here lately. What's going on over there, Osceola Hills? Who's the mayor of Osceola Hills? Get this straightened out. A flooring installer suspected of stealing a villager's golf cart has been sentenced for driving that golf cart while committing vehicle burglaries. He steals the golf cart, and while he's in a stolen golf cart, he's going to go burglarize cars. He's probably looking for cars that's unlocked. Nevada Alan Megan, 31, was sentenced earlier this month in Sumter County Court to 11 months and 29 days in jail. He was given credit for 90 days already served and will be on probation for a year upon his release. Megan was suspected in the theft of a black golf cart stolen in November from a home in Kensington Place in the village of St. Charles. The golf cart's owner said Megan had been in his home installing a laminate floor. Megan was also charged with stealing tools from a previous employer, Wildwood Flooring. The tools valued at $3,362 were later pawned at Value Pawn in Leesburg. By the way, at the end of this video, once again, we're going to have bad parking. I'm not going to comment on most of those. You guys seem to be able to see them and get a good laugh at them. And I just shake my head when I look at this going, what are they thinking? And did they take the same driver's test that I took? So anyway, enjoy the bad parking at the end of the video. We're not there yet, but you'll have a good time with it. A Massachusetts couple's teen son has been fined after a fracas earlier this year at Lake Sumter Landing. Max Michael Petipus, 19, pleaded no contest to absentia last week in Sumter County Court to a charge of disorderly conduct. He was fined $100. The Melrose, Massachusetts native had been arrested in the wee hours February 18th after he began arguing with customers in the bar area of City Fire. He was belligerent and got angry with a female. He took a swing at her and missed, according to the arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. I got to tell you, I'm amazed that I know City Fire in Lake Sumter really well, and I'm amazed that a bunch of them band of brothers are up there hanging around, that they let him get by with that. One swing, I could just imagine 3 or 4 of them guys putting this guy to the ground. I mean, I'm just saying. I wasn't there. I don't know. The Melrose, Massachusetts native had been arrested in the wee hours February 18th after he began arguing with a customer at the bar at City Fire. He was belligerent and got angry with a female. He took a swing at her and missed, according to the arrest report. Petipas initially left the bar, but returned a short time later and started cursing at customers. They told him to go home because he was drunk. Should have took the hint, boy. He attempted to take a swing at another customer and was restrained until deputies arrived on the scene. There you go. There you go. They just don't put up with this stuff. We ain't got to put up with this stuff. People just seem to think this political correctness stuff is crap. Somebody takes a swing at you, you got a right to defend yourself, and you got a right to defend some old lady over here. I was almost said something, so I was going to have to bleep myself. Oh, well. Patepa's parents own a home at 1269 Stetson Street in the village of Hawkins. They received a property tax bill at their home in Somerville, Massachusetts. See, Hawkins, fairly new area, fairly new people. Trouble bringing her kid, letting her kid have the house. I'm not saying he's living here. He probably just said, I'm going down there for a walk. Can I stay at your house, Mom and Dad? And they said, sure, go ahead. We don't care. An 82-year-old villager will lose his driver's license as a result of an arrest on a drunk driving charge last year after leaving Tierra del Sol Bar and Grill. Larry Van Parsons of the village of Caroline. That's where we used to have our house at Caroline. I like Caroline. Not sure what it's like today, but at the time I was there, I liked it. He was apparently heading home shortly before 11 p.m. November 20th when he had trouble with the entrance gate at the Canal Street Stillwater Trail. What? How can you have trouble with the entrance gate? You just flash your card and whatever. When a deputy arrived, Parsons' blue Toyota was parked at the gate with his hazard lights flashing. The deputy tried to speak with Parsons, but he had trouble with his windows. He ultimately rolled down the vehicle's rear passenger window to speak to the deputy. Parsons said he was on his way home from Tierra del Sol, where he had a few drinks before heading home. He said he'd consumed two, it's always two, ultralight beers. He told the deputy he suffers from heart issues and high blood pressure. Parsons struggled through field sobriety exercises and provided breath samples that registered 0.139 and 0.142 blood alcohol content. Last month in Sumter County Court, Parsons pleaded no contest to a charge of driving under the influence. He will lose his driver's license for 6 months. He has been placed on probation for 1 year and has been ordered to perform 50 hours of community service. Well, you know, that means nothing around here. Even if he doesn't drive the car, I guarantee you, if he gets caught, he may not. There's a good chance he won't. He's going to drive that golf cart down there because he don't think that that's the same thing as a motorized vehicle. That happens all the time here. A villager who was found passed out in his golf cart after leaving Spanish Springs Town Square earlier this year has been sentenced on a charge of driving under the influence. John Randall Erb, 68, of the village of Summerhill, was found in his running golf cart at about 11 p.m. I got to tell you, that they said that in the last report too, and that throws me off. Real quick, I'm going to say, if he's passed out and he's in a golf cart, how's it sitting there running? These engines on golf carts don't run when your foot's off the gas pedal. They just don't run. They come to a complete stop. And if it's an electric golf cart, same thing. Take your foot off the gas, they don't run. So in order for it to be running, is it just me? I mean, was he against a tree or something with his foot on the gas pedal? I don't know. Doesn't say. He was found in his running golf cart at about 11 p.m. May 23rd in the parking lot of the Summerhill Pool, according to an arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. Biloxi, Mississippi native said he had been on his way home from Sandy Springs Town Square and appeared to be confused and how he ended up passed out in his golf cart, a deputy wrote in a report. Erb performed poorly in the field sobriety exercises. He provided breath samples that registered 0.191 and 0.198 blood alcohol content. All right, I believe that's going to be it for me. Coming up next is going to be bad parking in the villages. And we'll make fun, we'll have a laugh, and you watch these pictures that'll be posted. And you tell me, do you see what's wrong with them? Well, I do. I see what's wrong with every one of them, except maybe one. One I'm not too sure about. Have fun with it. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you all on the other side.